Welcome back to another episode on the series on Power BI, and in this video we will be discussing bins, lists and a few other functions. So let's get the video started by importing the right data. So we have four tables here: sales, store, customer, buyer information, and customer information. So we have been working with these three tables earlier, and now we have added customer buyer information to the trio. So we'll load the data. Bins and lists are quite useful because allow you to analyze and eventually visualize data by grouping the data points. So you can create your bins and lists and later visualize them, and it's quite helpful in taking things and data in aggregates. So let's get started. Let's jump over to the data view, and here you have customer information, customer buyer information, and let's just drop down all the sheets we have. And here we would like to select this customer information table, and here we have four customers in the list. And if we go to customer information and then the sales information, we have plenty of customers in this list because it's the sales data. So here you can either select customer from this data table, or you can select customer from here. Now you right click and you see a new group at the very bottom. So here a dialog box will open. So here we have these four ungrouped values, and this group type is not active yet because we can only list because it's a string based data. These are the names, and bins can only be applied to numeric data. We will look at that later. So we have customer groups and we want to group them into one. So let me select them. So I'm just selecting them randomly. We select these two, we group them, and I'll change it to bestsellers, best vendors for instance, or best grade customers. And now I'll group these two into second grade customers. So this is just automatically created this title, and I will again change it to second grade customers. Maybe I don't like them, but whatever the reason is, I have named them as second grade. Now I'll click OK, and the groups will be created, and a new column has been created here with the titles I have given to those groups. This is kind of similar to the if-else statements, but it's a bit faster. We can also apply these lists on numeric data. Let's say we want to have a new group of order ID. So we can create bins, but we can also create lists. Now I'm just selecting randomly a few numbers, a few order IDs, and I have grouped them to the frequent buyers, frequent orders, or we can see that profitable orders. Let's say profitable orders, first orders. All right, so I can create a new column with the profitable orders and others because it was numeric and I did not actually created groups for all of the options available. So I just created one group and added it, and what it will do, it will create a group by itself and call it others. You can also go back and change by editing the groups. So instead of going for others, I'll pick all the orders and I'll group them into recent ones, and let's see. Just so now it should change, and yes, the entire list has changed accordingly, so we can edit it whenever we feel like. Apart from this, we can also apply bins. Bins actually create groups. They're very similar, but they will create categories on numeric data. Let's go back to customer buyer information, and we do have some demographic information here, just like the way we do research and we get demographic information of your target audience. So let's say we want to know the categories that we can apply on age brackets, for instance. Usually we do that in research. So what we will do, we will start by right-clicking age. We will add it to a new group. And here we can create bins. We have two options. We can have bins by the size or bins by the number. So if it is by the size, we can see we're taking a 10 here. Or if we're taking by the number of bins, we can mention that we want, let's say, 10 bins or 10 categories in total, and it can be 6.1, the one of the sizes. So it depends what kind of bins you want to create. If we're creating it with respect to age, we'll keep 10 as a size, and if we click OK, a new column will be created with the age bins. Similar can be done with the generations. For instance, if we need generational data, like we want millennials, we want the people who are from the generation Z, so we can categorize our respondents on the basis of that as well. So this has created different bins. Now the people who are in their 70s are in the 70s bin, the people who are in their 30s are in the 30 bin, and this is the way you can change the strategies on how to deal with your customers, for instance, or how to deal with your target audience. Next thing we can do is we can apply the same concept of bins or lists on the data as well. So we have the state information here in the sales table. So we'll come on this table and we will right click on date purchased. We want to create a new group, and here we can also create lists. For instance, let's look at the data. We can create list and go over all the entries and then select them manually and then create a group. But for some reason I feel that bins are much better and easier to perform. So we can say we have a bin size and the date format on the basis of which we can create these bins. So the kind of data we have is based on days and months, so I'll keep months. And how you want to create a bin, you can create a bin for 1 month. And now let's see, and we click OK, and we will get to have another column in which we have marked the months, and we can have a monthly analysis or a quarterly review. It depends what kind of review you're doing. So this can also help you simplify data. So all this activity that we have performed in terms of lists and bins, it helps you simplify the data. Instead of looking at the number of units sold, you can create brackets. Instead of looking at individual dates, you can create a monthly overview. Here, instead of looking at each individual customer's name, you can see the group to which they belong. Similarly, if we go over the customer buy information, we can see that instead of going for age for a particular person or a particular buyer, we can go for the bins, which is actually a simplistic form of the same information. So the approach is to simplify the data you have. Now we will quickly go over the reports tab and visualize what we have created. So the very first thing we will do is we will select the buyer ID. For instance, where is the buyer ID? Here it is. And the age bins that we have created. So these are the age bins. So you can see that we can simply look at the age bins and we know that which category does my buyer belong to. So selecting this, we can also drill down further by age actually. So let's keep it here. and here it would have looked like this if we haven't created the bins. So we can go up a bit, and this is what we have created after making bins out of the age. So let's make a new table and see what we have created in terms of, we had customer groups and the units sold. So you can see that the best grade customers are somehow not performing really well. So because I just picked it randomly. So, but this is the way you perform your analysis. You can further drill it down, and I hope you get an idea of how to use lists and bins. The purpose is to just simplify the data you have. So that will be all from the functions. I'll see you in another video.